Welcome to Home Stories. When buying a home, there's always a story. Heartwarming stories, crazy stories, stories where dreams came true, and stories where lessons were learned. And now, your host for Home Stories, Ronnie Lobb.
Yay! Thank you. Thank you, Aryn, for being here today. I guess I need to introduce my guest. This is Aryn, and she is a lovely person who I got to know 6 months or 8 months.
About almost a year, probably.
Yeah, about a year ago. Yeah, and Aryn is this lovely person who bought a home just in the past couple of months, and so I was excited to bring her on and talk about like a very recent home story. On this podcast, we're going to be talking about, lots of people that have bought, long time ago and then more recently, and then, people who have owned a home for a while and kind of what those adventures were. But I'm really excited that today we get to hear from Aryn, who's like barely closed, fixed up her home. She's moved in and boom, we're talking right now. So yeah. So, so anyways, thank you, Aryn, for coming today. I'm excited to have you here.
Yes, I'm excited to be here.
The other exciting thing for me was I got to be the person who helped Aryn buy her house. I got to help her do her loan on her house and help her go through the first time home buying experience, which was a lot of fun. So
Yes.
yeah, it's good stuff. So, so Aryn, do you mind just like telling us a little bit about yourself, your age and how long you've been in St. George?
Okay, so originally I'm from Southern California, so I'm a transplant here in St. George. Softball brought me here. I attended Dixie State. Go Trailblazers! Go Trailblazers! So then I decided just to start the next chapter of my life here. Got married. I am 28 years old, so almost hitting 30, and it's crazy. But anyways,
Oh, cool.
so after working here and just planning our roots, we decided to get serious and buy a house.
Right.
So that's what we did.
Ah, that's awesome. And we'll get to that in just a minute. What made you decide Dixie State?
It was mainly softball. So I originally was playing at Oregon State, had a lot of fun. And then after 2 years, I decided I needed to make a change, and I wanted to be closer to family who were only 6 hours away. They could come see me play. I had a friend playing here, not working. I have work on my mind right now.
Yeah, right.
But I had a friend playing here, and she's like, "You should totally come here. It's a great atmosphere. You're gonna love it." Mm-hmm. So came here, and then it was about 2013, and then graduated in 2016, and just decided to stay. I knew that, I didn't want to go back home as much as I missed my family. I loved sunny St. George and So.
Yeah. Oh, cool. Okay. Well, cool. Well, I'm glad that you're here. You've been here longer than I have now. So. Yeah. I'm glad to be here. And it's funny how many people we talk to, and it's, I think that we're going to find a lot of people that have been here, 5 years or less, because St. George has really kind of been discovered and booming a lot.
It's growing. Yeah.
Okay, so you started, where did you start working when you were in college?
So I did kind of like an internship for Jessica Elgin. She's a real estate agent here. I was her personal assistant, and we had a great time. She's a phenomenal person and a great role model to look up to. And then all of a sudden I just, started kind of experimenting or taking other jobs as far as, working within a school, and then just somehow decided to be an office manager for iPro Realty Network. I accepted the job there and have been there for collectively probably almost 4 years by now, and I just love it. So it's been a good time. Real estate's a fun industry to be in because you meet a lot of great people, different stuff happens all the time in this unpredictable market. So, and being an athlete, I like to be on my toes, and I like things to happen fast, if that makes sense. Yeah. That's just how that works. Sometimes I like the speed I like to stay busy and helping people anywhere I can. So,
and I noticed working with you, like you like to be like right on top of things, like on the ball the moment that we get information.
It's good. It's good and bad, I guess.
I think it's a good thing.
Yeah.
And I bet that they really appreciate that about you there at the office.
Yes,
so.
we're a big family, and we are there for each other. We like to learn and facilitate a great learning environment. So
yeah, cool. So you worked there for a few years. Can I ask, what was it that had you deciding, now is the time for us to like seriously consider buying a house? What made you decide to go from, renting where you were to it's time, we got to start looking?
Yes. So where we were, it was a really nice apartment. It was really close, to both of my husband and my jobs. So we're like, oh, well, this is a great place. And it made sense. But then after a while, I'm like, okay, I think we're ready to take on the next chapter. We want to get a dog. We want to be able to do whatever we want with our home and not have to answer to anyone, I guess. We just wanted to have more freedom and then build equity. Yeah. Because that's huge for us. It's going to be like, it's intimidating at first because you're like, oh, this is a huge purchase. It's our biggest investment. But we had people like you who helped us and to make us one of the biggest decisions that we would ever make. Yeah. And we appreciate everything you did. So yeah, but nice. we were definitely ready just to take the dive in. Yeah. And we are really thankful that we did because we love where we are. And we're just so ready to call a place our own. Yeah. So
yeah. Did it take a while, like after graduating and working here for a while, to be sure, like this is where we want to stay? Or did you know that have you known that for a while?
I've known for a while. My family did move away to Tennessee and I miss them, but something has told me to stay here. My husband's family's here. We are happy in our jobs and we just have a lot of fun here being around nature. We've developed really great friendships, and so that would be hard to leave too. Yeah. And we just like to see the growth. I think it's cool to see new things pop up around town all the time. And we just, there's really no other place. So
yeah. Cool. Well, that's good. Yeah. So I just, let's see, I guess what I wanted to ask is like, why decide to buy like this year? Maybe why not 2 years ago? Why not 4 years ago? Why not wait for another 2 years? Because we hear people going, houses are going up. Like, let's wait for a crash. Like, what made you decide we got to do this now?
So we wanted to save money, and we just wanted to make sure that we were ready. But then, once we gained the knowledge about, oh, you can make this happen, we did, and we wanted to do it now because the interest rates are still low compared to what they were before, to my knowledge. I mean, you're the lender here. Right, yeah, but, they are. But so we were like, we probably should jump on this. Right. So I'm happy we did. Yeah.
And I guess I should probably use this as a moment for an education piece. Like, it's been predicted over and over again that rates are going to be about 1% above where you were at when we closed on your loan within about a year from now. So, I mean, if low interest rates, lower payments as a motivation, it's surprising how low they've been and how long they have stayed low. But it's been a good thing. And I think a lot of people are finding their buying power is better than they thought. Yes. And can I ask how this compares, like what you're doing now compares to what you were renting for?
So actually it would have been, it's a little bit more, affordable, to be honest, because our monthly rent was going way up, and that's what we've seen. We've seen, just by looking around, the rent's been outrageous. So I was like, why not just see, if we can buy, because our mortgage is actually cheaper than what we were going to pay for rent. Yeah. So it's
fixed.
Yeah, and it's fixed. So we're not surprised every year of, oh, well, is it going to be $100 more, or what is it going to be? So we know what to expect, and we're prepared to do that. So that's no surprise. I don't like any surprises, I guess, with that. With money. So.
Right. It's kind of nice to know, like what to plan on, especially budgeting, you know, like a big surprise like that, especially for your house payment to, you know, change drastically, that can really derail people. So
we just felt really just safe, I guess, because we had you as our lender, and we just felt very just confident in our decision to do that. So it's been great to do that.
Cool. Well, that sounds good. So I'm going to ask you some questions where I myself might be a little vulnerable, because I know I'm, because I was the lender, but I'm going to ask them anyway. And if you got criticism, that's totally fine. So share your thoughts about how you felt like this went. So, and I'm trying to think when the first time was that we chatted. So
I think it was November-ish, because I'm like, what can we afford? Because I know being in the real estate industry, you know, it's good to have a pre-approval and, you know, before, so you can know exactly, you know, what you should be shopping for.
Right.
And so I'm like, we need to go see Ronnie right now before we really start looking at homes.
Yeah.
So that's huge, I think.
Yeah. And I think like getting a good idea, like how much you really need down, or if you need a down payment.
Yeah, when or if, or what or if.
Right. Because we've got those first time home buyer programs that may or may not require a down payment. And then there's also, you know, the question everyone has, what's my monthly payment going to be like? Kind of I know what I can qualify for, but what's my comfort level for what I'm actually spending,
right?
You know, a month. Right. And I think I know we discussed that.
And I think what helped me as a first time home buyer too is just really playing with your numbers, I guess. And that, it sounds scary coming from me, because I used to have anxiety about math when I was in elementary school and stuff. Yeah. So I'm like, I'm talking to my husband, Garrett, and I'm like, all right, can we do this? Like, and then once you put it on paper and you see what you can do, you're more confident about, okay, should we go for this, or, you know, should we wait? Yeah. So it's definitely a team effort between you, your husband, or, you know, your significant other and your lender to really see what you should be doing. Right. Because you don't want to me, I didn't want to waste anybody's time by looking at houses that, okay, maybe we can't afford this, or, you know, you want to know, right? Especially in times like these when the market's crazy. Right. Yeah. Yeah. So. You're not surprised, like after you've made your offer on your house, you're under contract, and no buyer's remorse. Yeah. Yeah. No buyer's remorse. Don't do that. That is not our goal. No. Okay. So tell me then, how did you feel like the home buying process went? I think it went really smooth, to be honest. The sellers were very easy to work with. They did everything that we asked, you know, that sounds kind of weird, but they were, the line of communication was very open, and they were just like super great people. Ronnie, of course, again, I'm just going to keep saying this because she's a bomb. You're awesome. So, and then I also had amazing support from my family at iPro Realty Network here. Yeah. And they, even during times like when I'm like, oh, is this like, should I be doing this? Or they're like, no, you need to, like, you need your own, the place of your own, like, right. You're going to be fine. Yeah. I know moving can be stressful. So they were kind of like my sounding board in a way. Yeah. So yeah, that's an awesome office environment to be in as you're doing this or going through this milestone. So yeah, and the fact that you were surrounded by professionals the whole time who could be, you know, kind of talk you through everything. Yeah, this is normal, you know, or that's not normal. I know, I know. I can be like, I can get anxious and antsy sometimes. So they're like, you're fine. Like, it's going to be okay. Like, it's going to work out. Yeah, it's going to work out. You know, you're making a smart move. This is what needs to happen. So yeah. Right. Yeah. Cool. Yeah. That's fantastic. So, inspections, you guys got an inspection. You know, I've seen over and over again, people just coming in and saying, hey, like, yeah, like, let's take our dad through it, or, you know, my, you know, boyfriend's brother, or, you know, somebody who says, yeah, I understand this. Do you recommend that you just like take someone who's seen building before? Do you feel like that's sufficient for an inspection? I think it is. My father-in-law worked in the construction and iron industry, so I would recommend somebody there.
Yeah.
Just to have the knowledge, so
that knows what construction looks like.
Yeah, what's good and what's not. Luckily, we didn't have any super major things wrong, except for a little bit of the AC and the roof. But those are getting worked out, and there's always going to be something there.
Some other issue.
That's the joys of home ownership is there's going to be something to do all the time. But Scott Barton was awesome. He was very thorough, and we just felt another reassurance that we should buy that house, and we did.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, cool, very cool. Okay, and then so you're saying that you had a really great experience, like that it was a smooth process. Is there anything that you wish had gone better?
To be honest, I can't really think of anything right now.
Oh, good. I can think of something.
What?
Just making sure that we had, as we had just discussed before, we were waiting for some documentation from a government entity to send back to us, and it took us, and it came back like in plenty of time. But I know that there was that, like we wanted it immediately, we weren't able to get it immediately, and that it was a little intense for. I don't know if intense is the right word, but it was nerve-wracking for a minute because we just didn't have every single answer right in the beginning.
So I'm a drama queen sometimes. And, this is my first time, seeing this side of real estate. What the process looks like. And I have a greater appreciation for all the different moving parts. So once we did get those documents, it felt like Christmas. Right. But I know, it was not you. It was you did everything that you could do at that point, and I'm happy that you told us too, because then we were better educated to know what was going on.
And what we were expecting.
Yeah, what we were expecting. So definitely, that was one kind of like freak out. I wouldn't say a total negative of what happened, but it was a good learning experience altogether to know. Yeah. And especially with everything that's gone on this past year, Yeah. I know that government agencies are, they're
a little slow.
They're slowing. Yeah, they're a little slow and a little. Yeah. So I was trying to give them grace a little bit too. Yeah. And
and it ended up, where we still
it was perfect.
Still had plenty of time.
Yeah, it was perfect, and we closed earlier than we thought. So
that's always a good feeling. I like that too.
I like it too.
Okay, so any good surprises that came along the way? Something maybe you didn't anticipate when you were buying?
So at first, we were really comfortable, like I said, with where we were, our location, in St. George. But, and I was used to a 7-8 minute commute, I guess you would say. Right. Coming from LA, people commute hours. Right. So I'm like, I have no.
Can I push it all the way to 10?
I have no reason to complain.
Yeah.
So anyways, that was kind of built up in my mind, this is going to be this huge commute, and it's going to be horrible, but then once you're actually driving, you're like, oh, look at the pretty mountains. Look at this. You can listen to music to kind of wind down or get you ready to go for the day. So it actually wasn't as bad as I thought. Yeah. Because I like to build things up in my mind way worse than what they are. And then also, I just didn't really realize how much our lifestyle would change. I know it's not like we're super far away from town, but you definitely have to start planning ahead for different things in town. Like my husband umpires baseball games and, grocery store runs, different appointments. So you just have to always think ahead more than, I can just go home and then,
there's no rushing out of the door 10 minutes before it starts.
No, you got to go. Yeah. Yeah. So it's definitely different, but we like it. It's a good different.
Yeah. Oh, cool. Well, that sounds fabulous. It sounds like that just sounds like a great position to be in, beginning to end. Yeah. Do you have something that you would share with someone who is thinking about being a first-time home buyer, someone who has, probably graduated from college, or they've got, a more stable job. They're, getting closer to their 30s and starting to think, should I buy? Should I not buy? What advice would you give to those people?
I would definitely say to just not be afraid Like, I always had this phrase, you know, from my dad throughout this process too, was, you know, you just have to do it. If you're not going to do it, it's never going to happen. You have to make a decision to try and not be afraid to take that leap into the next phase. You know, I know, you know, some people are apprehensive. They want to save money like I did or something like that, but
which is fair.
Yeah. And then
you know?
ask the right questions, and just always keep the communication open, you know, so there can be just good information both ways. So, and for you to understand that, like, there was a lot of, again, like, I am a real estate office manager. So I saw it from a whole different perspective.
Right.
So I was constantly asking questions, and don't feel like if I were to tell a person if they are afraid of asking too many questions, don't be. Yeah. Because this is the biggest investment that you're possibly going to make.
Yeah.
So
and there's really there's no stupid questions.
Yeah. I mean,
you know, if it comes down to, you know, money payment, like long-term home ownership, like asking questions before you sign that dotted line that's important, you know?
Yeah. I was just joking when we were at the title company at Infinity. They're awesome too.
Yes, they were.
Yes. I was like, I'm signing my life away today. You know, like that's, it was a joke, but you really have to take this seriously in a way, because this is a big decision that can change your life and your lifestyle and just a lot of different things. So
yeah. Yeah. Cool. That sounds good. Yeah. And I'm just going to throw a tidbit in here, like, because I think you're right. We did talk November. And it was, I think, a really fantastic thing that you came in and we really discussed all of the different, you know, the different loan options, that there are no money down loans, that there are low down payment loans, what the differences between those are, you know, when is it better to use one versus another. And you guys had a really good idea of, or I think we had a really good discussion, you know, on what that was before you guys went home shopping. And that's a much better idea than watching homes pop up on, you know, the MLS and then go, oh my gosh, I want that home, you know, and you're ready to make an offer and you go, oh, well, shoot, you know, I better talk to a lender and see if this is going to work.
Yeah.
You know, either way, it could probably have worked, but you're going to be so much better educated. Yeah. You're going to have way more information on what it is that you're signing and what your options are than if it was a last minute, just like rush to, you know, get a loan closed maybe. And maybe it would have still ended up being a good thing or the best thing for you, and maybe not, you know? So I do agree with the, you know, be informed, well informed in the beginning, and then make your decision rather than, oh, I love this house, let me see if I can afford it. Oh, and then, you know, afterwards, I'm not sure if I, you know, then buyer's remorse might pop in just because you're feeling the rushed frenzy of the market that exists right now.
Yes, you don't. Yeah, exactly. I kind of like was there a little bit, because you're just like, whoa, what did I just do? Yeah. But then I had to remind myself that this is going to be better for us in the long run. This is a very good thing to happen in your life. And you will make it work. Yeah. I guess, my husband and I are both collegiate athletes. So I was trying to be very strategic too, to make sure that we were making the best decisions. And then that we just knew that we're going to have a good team behind us to go and do this. Yeah. So
cool. Well, I gotta say, I was really glad to work with both you and Garrett. You guys were fantastic.
So I felt like I was annoying you sometimes, but
that's okay. And back to like, there's no dumb questions. It's good to be able to discuss this. So
and I'm like, I'm sorry, Ronnie, I'm calling you on a Saturday. Like, I'm really, you know, but she was there. She was there. So
yeah, cool. Well, we only have 1 minute, but I wanted to ask, like, just real quick, moving in, were there any surprises moving in, or did you, and you painted and everything that weekend and in you went? I thought that was like one of the fastest I've seen.
I really don't think that there are any surprises. You know, living in a house and living in an apartment is different. So I guess the only surprise I had was maybe some creaks in my attic, you know, but I'm like, okay, I think this is normal because it's an actual house and it's windy out, because it gets pretty windy in Ivins. So it's gorgeous and we love it. But the wind, I'm like, oh, well, that's what that sounds like
One of
again.
those-
You
yeah.
know, coming from a windy place in California too.
Yeah.
But other than that, not really. So
Okay. Oh, fantastic. Well, that's cool. Well, thank you, Aryn, for coming. I really appreciate you coming and discussing our process together. And if you need to talk to a lender, you want to go shopping, feel free to give me a call. We'd love to get you guys qualified. Thanks a lot.
You've been listening to Home Stories, stories about the experience of home buying and ownership. Ronnie Lobb is a loan originator with Altius Mortgage, NMLS number 1522411. For more information or to share your home story, go to homestoriespodcast.com. This has been a production from a podcast studio.